The Titan submarine, designed by OceanGate, was set to sail from St. John Port in Canada and dive into the Atlantic Ocean, which was around 700 kilometers from the port. On Saturday, 17th June 2023, they decided to begin with the preparation. The 5-person crew constituted of Hamish Harding, the founder of Action Aviation, who also worked with Jeff Bezos and went to space with him. The second person of the group was Stockton Rush, who was the CEO of OceanGate, which was the company who designed Titan. The third person was Paul Henry, who was a shipwreck expert, and lastly, Shahzada Dawood, who was a Pakistani billionaire, along with his son Suleiman. The Titan submarine was designed to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep sea. Its titanium hull and advanced technology pushed the boundaries of what was possible. In the last post by Hamish Harding, he stated that the dive was supposed to be taken on the 17th, but due to bad weather condition, it was halted and was postponed to the next day. Titan, a 22-foot-long submersible vessel, was set to launch around 8 am Eastern Time Zone, according to the US Coast Guard the next day. 1 hour and 45 minutes later, the vessel lost contact with the Polar Prince, which was the mothership. The vessel was programmed to send out a ping every 15 minutes to indicate its location, but the final signal came around 10 am Eastern Time Zone. The Titan was made to typically take around 2 hours to reach the Titanic wreckage, located about 4,000 meters beneath the ocean. According to the US Coast Guard, the sub was meant to surface at 3 p.m. Eastern Time Zone, but when it failed to resurface, the crew raised the alarm with authorities at 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. At a press conference in Boston, Captain Jamie Frederick of the US Coast Guard said, "On Sunday, the Coordination Command Center in Boston received a report from the Canadian expedition vessel Polar Prince of an overdue 21-foot submarine Titan with 5 people on board. The Titan was attempting to dive on the wreck of the Titanic, approximately 900 miles east of Cape Cod and 400 miles south of St. John's. Approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes into the scheduled dive, the Polar Prince lost all communication with the Titan. Since Sunday, the Coast Guard had coordinated search efforts with the US and the Canadian Coast Guard. The Air National Guard aircraft and the Polar Prince had searched a combined 7,600 square miles, an area which was larger than the state of Connecticut. The vessel had limited oxygen for the crew, which made the rescue mission a race against time to reach the vessel. On Monday morning, the authorities revealed that the Titan was missing and a large-scale search operation was launched. The US Coast Guard revealed that they began a sweeping search of 5,000 square kilometer area about 900 miles off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The Canadian Coast Guard said it too was taking part in the effort with a fixed-wing aircraft and a ship. At 1:30 p.m, the US Coast Guard tweeted that the RC-130 aircraft had been dispatched to search for the Titan, along with the P-8 Poseidon aircraft with underwater sonar capabilities joined the search later that day. The US Coast Guard Rear Admiral John Mauger told reporters that it was a remote area and it was a challenge to conduct a search in such a remote area, but they are still deploying all the available assets to make sure they can locate the craft and rescue the people on board. During the press conference on Tuesday, Captain Frederick said there were around 40 to 41 hours of oxygen left on the submersible. He said that a unified command of multiple agencies had been formed to tackle the very complex problem of finding the vessel, but so far this had not yielded any results. The search effort have focused on both surfaces, with C-130 aircraft searching by sight and with radar, and the subsurface with the P-3 aircraft. Captain Frederick was non-committal when asked if there is any way to retrieve the submersible and save the 5 people on board. It was also reported that the Canadian aircraft had detected banging noises within the search area with a course of 30 minutes interval. The US Coast Guard on Wednesday morning had said that the Canadian P-3 aircraft had detected underwater noises in the search area. As a result, ROV operations were relocated in an attempt to explore the origin of the noises. As the search intensified with more technology, Captain Jamie Frederick of the US Coast Guard assured people that authorities were doing everything possible to locate the missing vessel. The first photo emerged of the deep energy rescue ship, which carries 2 remote operated vehicles capable of operating to a depth of 3,000 meters, arriving at the search site on Wednesday. The Coast Guard said in a Twitter post that the John Cabot, which has side-scanning sonar capabilities along with the Scandi Vinland and the Atlantic Merlin, also arrived at the search site on Wednesday morning. The Royal Canadian Navy also deployed HMCS Glace Bay, which carries a medical team specializing in dive medicine. On board the ship was a mobile hyperbaric recompression chamber that can be used to treat or prevent decompression sickness. However, the French ship Atalante, carrying the Victor 6000 underwater rove and winch, the only one capable of reaching the Titanic wreck 4,000 meters under the ocean surface, had a narrow window of time to conduct rescue operations, as it only reached the search site on Wednesday night. On Thursday, 22nd June, the air supply on the missing Titanic tourist submarine came down to its last few hours. The workers continued their increasingly desperate search for the 5 stranded passengers. A US Coast Guard spokesperson told The Independent that they expect the vessel named Titan would run out of oxygen at 8 AM Eastern Time Zone. Soon after that deadline passed, officials announced a debris field had been found in the search area. The 5 crew members were said to have died after the Titanic tourist submarine called Titan suffered a catastrophic implosion. When a submarine hull collapses, it moves inwards at about 1500 miles per hour, that's 2200 feet per second, said Dave Coley, a former US nuclear submarine officer. The US Coast Guard offered its deepest condolences to the families after the tail cone of the vessel was found around 1600 feet from the bow of the Titanic wreck. While the exact nature of the incident is still unknown, experts suggest that the implosion may have occurred on the very first day of the dive, that is on Sunday. The Titan was designed of titanium and carbon fiber. These materials are thought to tolerate the pressure at about 4,000 meters of depth. The hull of the craft was designed to safeguard the crew from the pressure of the water. The pressure water 3,800 meters down the area is around 400 atmospheres. Experts raised a brow at the use of carbon fiber. Going undersea is as, if not more challenging than going into space from an engineering perspective, expressed the director of the shipbuilding hub at the University of Adelaide. The fate of the Titan submarine became an emotional roller coaster for everyone who was involved, leaving an indelible mark on their hearts and minds.